Hey guys, welcome again to another tutorial. Today we're gonna learn how to set up some block reaction for the enemy, and we will add some logic to it based on our game design. But before that, I would like to show you something I did offline for the player. It's just more polishing and balancing our attacks. I'm gonna skip what I add here and I'll explain to you guys the reason, and I'll connect it back so you guys can see the result. If I am in within 300 units, I'm gonna land a punch. But if I am a little bit far out of that range, my punch is not reaching, and I'm kind of breaking the action. So I have, for example, to get to him, either I have to move the controller to get closer, or I have to punch many times till I get closer. And this one, it's really breaking the action. So what I did, I'm checking if I am out of range, that 300, I'm playing a different attack that can reach the target. Or you could do a dodge forward or a flip, whatever action you want to close the gap between you and the enemy before you can land the attack. And I don't want to teleport with that punch from far away. That's why I had another animation to close the gap. And to go back to our logic, so what I did is I added a branch to check if I am out of that range, the 300, and I play a montage of my new animation. This animation is just I made that up, which I use the sprint star and I use a knee jump. So literally it's not blending, as you can see, but in the game when we play you don't see that much. So now let me show you how it looks. So it's closing the gap and it's working, and then I can carry on with my punches. We just did it right there. So yeah, so it's just a tip that I would like to share with you guys. Now let's go to our enemy block reactions. So what we need to do is go to your dummy and then, or you can go straight to the enemy base. The reason we want to set up our block reactions on the enemy base so they can apply same as the hit reaction, so they will apply to all the children unless you have different enemies with different reactions. Then you want to go to self, and here you want to search for block, and you get this struct with 3 groups again, same as the hit reaction. The weak block is for light attack, firm block is for heavy attacks, and the knockback is for very strong attacks. So I already set up most of them. I'm just gonna redo this one with you guys, the first one, and then you can set directional blocks. You can block with your left hand, right hand, your leg, and so on. Now let's go find where these animations are, and I'm gonna use high center for this one. And again, make sure you add this curve if you want to fix that foot IK issue. And then what you need to do is action state notify, and let's go all the way to here, and we're gonna change this to hit reaction. Or you could add another enum under action state. You can search the enum action state, and you can add block reaction, but for this we can use hit reaction. It shouldn't be a problem. The next step is setting up our blend time. Like we did on the last time, we want to go quickly to our reaction, and since this montage is very small, I want to make sure I blend out quickly again, so I can when we play we can see a lot of this. We don't want to waste it in the blend time. And then check if your idle is too long, then you want to trim this at the start time for this case is going straight to the reaction, which is good. Next, I want to add my VFX and sound effects. And I think it's number 12 for block. And the sound will be block. And this one will attach it to, I think we'll do hand L block. Alright, so this is how I set up my block reaction. And now we can set it up on our enemy base and compile. And one more thing we need to do is, let's search here, same thing, block. And we have a variable here is blocking. This one is handled by the combat theory system, but for testing purpose we will set this to true just to see how the enemy is acting up to it. So that attack is set to not be blocked, but these ones, as you can see, he's blocking directionals. If I kick, same thing. You can see that kick leg block. And if we go from behind, he won't be able to block. The system allows the enemy to block only from the front. As you can see, some attacks I set them to not be blocked, like this ones, the heavy ones, and these ones he can block. So now we need to add a logic to the enemy block. So let's go back and set this back here and go to our enemy base and go to event point damage. We already did add this check if the enemy is blocking or not. And what we want to do, if we go to our GDD here, as you can see, we have enemy block only when stamina is full, and remove 20% on each block. Once the stamina reaches 0%, the enemy will have a block break animation, and then the stamina will start regen if he's not receiving any more, if he's not doing any blocks. So then he will basically regen the stamina fully to 100% before he can block again. Alright, so let's try to implement that. So we can go here. If the enemy is blocking and he receiving a hit, we're gonna remove the stamina. This one we set 20%. The max is 100, so 20 is 20%. And what we want to do next, we want to check if it's less or equal 0. Sorry, stamina. If it's true, then we want to play a montage. And this montage can be our block break. And I would like to add a new variable to determine if the enemy can block or not. So we can call it can block. By default, this variable should be set to true. When they start the game, the enemy can block. And then when the stamina reached 0, we set it to false. And also we want to set is blocking to false as well. If he was blocking, we want to turn this to false. So now this is the first step, and what we need to do is we can go to the default combat fury block dispatcher. Here we need to add that branch to check if the enemy can block or not. If the enemy can block, then we can let the system change this variable. If you go to the enemy component and you scroll down to AI threat awareness, this is where you can send messages or alert to the enemy so it can do an action, a specific action. So for this example, if the enemy received level 1, the action will do is block, and how often? 100%. And now the way to send this alert, there is two ways. You can go to basically where the attack is, and you can call send alert, and here you have the sender, which is gonna be the player, and then the level is the one that you assign for the action. So we're gonna send level 1. What we did here is when we attack, we're gonna send an alert of level 1 to any enemies nearby. When the enemy receive level 1, the action will do is block, and how often is 100%. For the enemy to receive this alert, the enemy actor must have a tag, and this tag is called receiver enemy. So for example, you have actors that you don't want them to receive this alert, just remove this tag from them. The other way to add alerts, you can do it also in the montage itself using a notify. So we can go here and we can add send alert, as you can see, and under the detail you can see level 1 right here. So you can do it either way with blueprint or with a notify. You have access to this both ways. Let's remove this from here, and since we already have it here, let's test. So 1 2 3 4, and then he should no longer block. Once it's 0, he cannot block anymore. So there you go. So he can no longer block now. Even the stamina regen itself, we did not update the variable can block. As you can see, he's still getting hit, and that's because the variable that we have here can block. We set it to false when it hits 0, but we didn't update it when stamina is back to full, like 100%. So now we need to do that. Go to hit reaction component and look for regen stamina. Here, if it's true, we stop the regen. So this is where we need to basically send, hey, we are at the max, set that variable back. To do so is we're gonna use dispatcher, and we're gonna make a on max stamina, and we're gonna call it here. So call on max stamina. So now if we go back to our enemy base blueprint, we can add that event dispatcher. You should see it under, click on hit reaction and events, and here you can, I didn't compile, let's compile this. Now we can go back. Here we go, we have on max stamina. So now we can drag it here, and if our stamina back to full, we can set this to can block. Recap. If the enemy is blocking, remove stamina. If stamina reaches 0, we play this montage of the block break. We set can block to false. We set is blocking to false. If we give the enemy a break and regen the stamina to full, to 100, using a dispatcher, we update can block again. So now let's test this. Let's remove this 2 so we can focus on just the 1. So as you can see, stamina goes to 0. If I punch now, he will get hit, but if it goes back to 100, he will be able to block. And we have to go all the way to 0, as you can see, so we can hit him again. And now if we go hit, he's not going to be able to block, he's dead. Alright, so this is our blocking logic for what we want to achieve. The next thing is we want to add some indicator for the player to see. So I have here orange is no block. So I'm gonna add some symbol or color to indicate that this enemy is able to block, and when it turns orange he can no longer block. Purple can block, and the red I want to add it for tougher enemies that can be invincible. Alright, so let's do that quick. Just something I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna add a sphere and we're gonna attach it to the head. And I'm gonna try to scale it to 0.5. Let's see. Let's remove the runtime. I think it's too small. 0.2. And then gonna give him eyes. 0.5. 0.1. Alright, so that's good. So for here, we can look for this one here, but I'm gonna make a copy and bring it over to Stickman. Copy here. And I'm gonna use this instead. Alright, so we do have user color. We do have a parameter here that we can access. Let's go back to our graph. If the enemy can block, we will get this sphere, and for each loop get materials for each loop. Then we can set color parameter value, and here we can set when the enemy can block. Purple color, and the parameter name is user color. And when the enemy cannot block, we will set the color to orange. All right, and orange. So we'll go with this color. Go here. Apply. And now he's purple. So purple mean can block. And when he can't block, you see it changed color to orange. If we let him regen his stamina to 100%, the color changed to purple. Now we can beat him again. Now that's it. He cannot block anymore, and we can kill him. So this color can be used to communicate the gameplay with the player. We can add even some flare to the eyes so it's more obvious, and we can also change the colors on them just to make it more obvious and readable. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Next one, we'll talk about some finishers for the player. Alright, until then, thank you for watching. Stay tuned.